motion along an inclined plane, starting from rest from O at the instant t0 equals 0 second. A solid S of mass m equal 4 kilograms is pulled up a rough inclined plane making an angle alpha equal 30 degrees with the horizontal by means of a force capital F parallel to the inclined plane of magnitude F equal 28 newtons. The magnitude of the force of friction between the inclined plane and S opposes its motion and assume constant of magnitude F equals 4 newtons, G equals 10 meters per second squared. Now, what is the difference between motion along an inclined plane, motion along a horizontal plane? في عندي one difference هو إنه in the case of motion of a solid along an inclined plane, W will be divided into two components, Wx and Wy. Part 1. Name and represent the external forces acting on us. What are the forces acting on us? مثل ما شايفين بالجيفن في عندي two forces. في عندي الكابيتال F اللي هو applied force هو that causes motion, the upwards motion of this object. وفي عندي الفريكشن بيبقى في عندي two forces. S is placed on a surface, so it's under the action of a normal reaction of a support. وأكيد الفورس اللي موجود على طول هو الويت. So the forces acting on us are capital F applied force, N already drawn, friction parallel to the inclined plane and opposite to the motion. هون the object is moving upwards up the inclined plane, so friction is downwards. وعلى طول friction opposes motion. The x-axis represents the axis of motion. Friction is opposite to x or opposite to motion. The weight is drawn from the center of gravity vertically downwards, while N perpendicular to the inclined plane. هون ال x-axis is already drawn هو axis of motion. ال y-axis هو perpendicular to x-axis along normal. مثل ما شايفين هون الكابيتال F small f والN رسمتهم بلون والويت رسمته بلون تاني. ليش؟ لأنه capital F small f and N are already projected either along x or along y. يعني capital F and small f are directed along x axis, N is directed along y axis, فبيبقى لي الN. هون الدبل W منه جاي لا على الاكس ولا على الواي, so it has two components Wx and Wy. From the end of W we draw perpendicular to x axis و perpendicular to y axis, we get Wy Wx. يعني إذا بدكم كأنه هون instead of having 4 forces كأنه هون صار عندي 5 forces, وكلهم هود ال 5 forces are projected either along x or y. Part 2. Verify by applying Newton's second law that the acceleration is f minus mg sine alpha divided by m. مثل العادة step 1 we write Newton's second law. Newton's second law, the sum of forces equals to ma, sigma f equal ma. بكتب اللو, هيدي أول step. Step 2 we replace sigma f by the forces acting on s. sigma f equal ma, يعني capital F plus small f plus weight plus n equals to ma. هلا راح يطلب مني الاكسلريشن. To determine the acceleration we project along the axis of motion, which is x-axis. What are the forces that act on this object along x اللي هن عندنا capital F small f و wx. بس بدكم تنتبهوا هود الفورسز في منهم are directed along x-axis وفي منهم شو are opposite to the x-axis. فهيهم حطيتهم ثلاثتهم capital F و small f و wx, بس الفورسز اللي مع الاكس اكسس بياخدوا بلس, فهون الاف حطيتها بلس f. friction and wx are opposite to x axis, فصار عندي capital F minus small f minus wx equals to ma. Now a we divide by m, we get f minus wx over m, and we know that in magnitude wx equals to mg sine alpha. mg sine alpha. فبتطلع مع الاكسلريشن مثل ما بده. Part 3, calculate the numerical value of A, then deduce the type of motion. Capital F, small f, mg, alpha and m are given. بعوضهم كلهم بتطلع الاكسلريشن 1 meters per second squared مثل العادي كمان. The acceleration is a positive constant and the velocity is positive. هون هيدي VA. The product of V and A, the product of V and A is positive. The motion is uniformly accelerated rectilinear. Part 4, calculate the magnitude of the normal reaction of a support. بده هون ال N. فأنا معي هيدا relation F plus small f plus W plus N equals to MA. Now we project along Y axis. The two forces that act on us along Y are capital N and WY. ومثل العادة N along WY فحطيتها N. WY opposite to Y axis فminus WY. بس هون انتبهوا. When we project along Y axis ما بحط بتساوي MA، بحط بتساوي 0 لأنه there is no motion along Y. The object is moving along X. No motion along Y يعني the sum of forces acting along Y is 0. Not moving. N and WY are balanced. They cancel each other. Their sum is 0. Therefore N equals WY. And we know that WY is mg cosine alpha. Alpha is the angle between W and Y axis. In magnitude على طول ثابتين WX mg sin alpha, WY mg cosine alpha. هون كمان إذا بدكم على طول if the object is moving up the inclined plane بصير عندي هون minus WX لأنه على طول الويت لتحت. بس if the object is sliding down بتصير plus WX. Part 4, determine the distance covered and the speed at t equals to 0. From the first statement, starting from rest from O. يعني at t equals to 0 the object was at O يعني x0 equal 0. Starting from rest يعني initial velocity v0 0. We use the time equations for UARM. V equals AT plus V0. V0 0. Acceleration 1 with time 2 meters per second. And the distance covered is half AT squared plus V0T. هاي بتروح A1 with time 2 تطلع 2 meters.